Hi, I'm James Eastham, and in this video I'm going to show you not one, not two, but 3 new features that AWS Lambda has just launched today, at least today when this video comes out, that is going to really help improve your developer experience when you're building Lambda functions. And let's get straight to it with the first of these new features. And I'm sure many of you have been there when you just started working with Lambda, you're trying Lambda out for the first time, and you end up with a new function in the console, and maybe it's not quite working as expected. You've got this new function, maybe you've got an LLM to generate the outline of the Lambda function, maybe you're using a template that you've pulled from somewhere, but what you've ended up with is this Lambda function inside the AWS console, and you've been developing it inside the inbuilt IDE. Now, personally, I don't think this is the best way to build Lambda functions, but when it comes to iterating and moving quickly, it can be really useful to be able to edit things live in the console. There's a problem with that though. This IDE you get in the console is kind of a little bit like VS Code, but it's not really the full-featured, nice IDE experience that you'd expect with an IDE running on your desktop. So this is feature number 1. So you can now just hit this open in Visual Studio Code button. This is going to launch me into Visual Studio Code, and it's going to say, am I okay with the AWS Toolkit extension opening a remote URL? I am, and the toolkit is then going to ask me for some credentials. It's going to ask me if I've already downloaded this function before. Is it okay to overwrite these changes? Yes, it is. And what I'll end up with is the exact function that I had in the console inside Visual Studio Code now. And now, of course, you've got this full featured, all the extensions, all the plugins, all you want inside your IDE. Now, this is only part of the battle though, right? You've maybe used this first new feature, you've taken the code from the console directly into your IDE, but now you want to start testing this function. You want to start working with this function. Which brings us on nicely to the second new feature, and that is full remote debugging support for your Lambda functions that are running in the cloud to debug them locally inside your IDE. Now, at this moment in time, this feature is only available for Node, for Python, and for Java, but let me show you how that works. If I open up the AWS Toolkit over on the left-hand side here, and I look for the actual Lambda function that I've just been working on, so I think that was called DynamoDB scan function. So in here, I can find DynamoDB scan function, and I can right click here and I can say invoke remotely. This feature's been around for a little while. You can invoke a Lambda function in the cloud from your local IDE. What's new, however, though, is that you can now tick this remote debugging button. What this remote debugging button is going to do, if I just zoom this out just a touch so you can see what's going on here, is it's actually going to re-download the code from the IDE, and it's going to then allow me to step through that. So if I say download remote code, and I'm going to download that into my current folder, and that's going to open up this file here now. So I've just downloaded a fresh version of the code from the console. I can tick the remote debugging tick box and then hit remote invoke. If I actually make sure I set some breakpoints in here first, this is then going to actually set up some stuff behind the scenes and then actually invoke that Lambda function in the cloud, but allow me to debug it locally here on my machine. This has now started a debug session on your local machine, and you can see that I've actually hit the first breakpoint in my Lambda function. If you go back over to the console and have a look at your Lambda function now, what actually happens when you do this is the actual function in the cloud does get manipulated ever so slightly. If you go and have a look in the cloud, you'll see that a new version of your function actually gets created, and that function has this LDK layer x86 layer that gets added to your function, which is, at least as far as I understand it, what then allows us to create this proxy between your local IDE and the instance of your Lambda function running in the cloud. Now, this is really useful when it comes to actually fixing errors. So maybe you've started with this LLM generated Lambda function, or you've used a template that you've got from somewhere and it's not quite working as you expected. This will now allow you to step through the function. I can see here that the table name has been set to your table name, which feels kind of weird, which means my table name isn't being set on my environment. I'm then going to make this scan call to DynamoDB. Oh, and this is going to throw an error, and you can actually go and have a look at what that error actually is. The error message here is that the DynamoDB scan function role is not authorized to perform DynamoDB scan on the table name. This is really nice because it can allow you to look at the actual input payload. You can see the error messages. You can actually get all the power of an actual debugger against your Lambda function that's actually running in the cloud. Now, of course, the observant amongst you will probably realize that I've created a Lambda function here, and this Lambda function is trying to query DynamoDB, and there's not actually a DynamoDB table anywhere, which is the problem here. This error is saying that the Lambda function's role is not authorized to perform scan on a resource, but we've not actually created the DynamoDB resource yet. So let's let this debug session continue. We can stop all this down now, and this brings us nicely onto the final new feature that has come to AWS Lambda. And this is, I think, actually my biggest issue with using the IDE in the cloud in the actual AWS console is what do you do once you've got it working in the console and you want to actually move that to a bigger application, to a more grown-up way of building an application using some kind of infrastructure as code framework. So again, if you come over to this AWS panel on the left-hand side, you right-click the actual function. So we've just been working with this DynamoDB scan function. I can right-click that now and say convert to SAM application. What this is actually going to do is it's going to take that baseline Lambda function and use that to generate a SAM template for the application. So I can give the CloudFormation stack that's going to be generated a name, and that's then going to go off and actually generate me a template. It's going to set up the folder structure for my application code, which will leave me with the ability then to deploy this application using a more grown-up infrastructure as code framework. So that's now completed. If you go and have a look over on my folders now, I had my initial index.mjs file, which was that initial one that we cloned from the console into Visual Studio Code using that open in Visual Studio Code feature. And there's now this DynamoDB scan function -stack. So when it's created this SAM template for me actually creating this application with SAM, it's also now generated me the Lambda function handler again. What this means is that I can probably delete these other folders and files from my actual local Visual Studio Code instance. This only gets us half of the way there, of course. We've now tried to start building a Lambda function in the cloud using the IDE in the cloud. We've cloned that into Visual Studio Code locally, and we've used the remote debugger to be able to walk through and actually understand that, hey, we've got this Lambda function, but we've not actually created the DynamoDB table. So now we've got this SAM template that can allow us to start deploying multiple AWS resources. But of course, at this point, you might not still be very familiar with serverless development. So again, I'm going to use another feature of the AWS toolkit that's been around for a little while now that maybe is still lesser known about, is this infrastructure composer. This will actually allow me to add other resources to my SAM template in a more intuitive manner, shall we say. So let's say we want to hook this Lambda function up to a DynamoDB table. We know we want to do that because that's kind of the point of what this Lambda function is supposed to do. We can hook that up there, open the Lambda function on the right-hand side here. We can then scroll right down to the environment variables, and we want to set the table name environment variable to just be table name to match up with what our actual application code is using. The final thing I just want to do in here is I want to make this Lambda function invocable over HTTP. So I'm just going to tick that create function URL checkbox as well. And as I've been making all these changes in that infrastructure composer designer, that has also been live updating my SAM template. So the SAM template that was auto-generated from me right-clicking in the IDE and say, hey, can you generate me a SAM template, has now had the environment variables added. It's had the permissions added with the DynamoDB CRUD policy. It's had the table created. The table's got some attribute definitions. It's got streaming enabled. So now that I've got this SAM template, well, it's time to go off and deploy it. So I can right-click the SAM template inside Visual Studio Code, and I can say sync SAM application, formerly deploy. That used to be called SAM deploy. This is just giving me a warning that it's going to directly update Lambda functions, step functions without using CloudFormation. So please don't do this in a production stack. And then it's going to actually walk me through setting some defaults. So I want to deploy this to EUS1. I'm going to give it a stack name. I want to create a new S3 bucket. And I want to save the parameters locally to a SAM config file. And I also want to turn on watch, which will automatically sync things back and forward to the cloud. I'm going to turn all that stuff on and let SAM actually go off now and deploy the application, which is what is happening in the terminal here. Whilst this isn't completely reinventing the wheel, there's been remote debuggers have existed in various forms with Lambda for a little while now. There's a few open source projects that have done this kind of thing. What this does give you from the ability to start working in the console, to cloning that locally, to stepping through the actual code that you've just written in the console, to then, really importantly in my decision, being able to convert that code you built in the cloud to some kind of infrastructure as code, albeit only SAM at the minute. That is what I think is the most powerful feature here. Whilst remote debugging will probably get the most noise made, I think the ability to take something you've written in the console, you've handwritten, you've quickly thrown together, to be able to convert that to infrastructure as code gives you that off-ramp. It gives you that ability to move from a quick iterative process in the console to locally on your machine with proper infrastructure as code support. So they're the three new features that Lambda have just announced today. To remember, that's console to code, to take the code you've written in the console and launch that into Visual Studio Code, to then be able to convert that from just a single simple Lambda function that you've handwritten, convert that into a SAM template, and then be able to actually remote debug your Lambda functions, to actually invoke your Lambda functions that are actually running in the cloud, but also step through them locally on your machine. I'd love to hear what you think about these new features in the comments below. Drop a comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next video.